close to the Fermi energy. If we can understand the unusual electronic property. Remember, electronic property is controlled by energy states which are within the kT of the Fermi energy. So we are going and looking at this. It really took us 24 hours to 48 hours for each spectrum because it's very low spectrum. And then we found a very unusual result. This raw data of this system with helium-2 given in kinetic energy scale, but we looked at this gold Fermi energy, and indeed Fermi energy is exactly here. At 20 Kelvin, you have a clear signature of a Fermi jump. Okay? So there is finite density of states at the Fermi energy, and it's a metal. As we increase the temperature, this jump becomes smaller and smaller, and at room temperature, you cannot see it anymore. Showing that there is a very unusual reduction in the spectral weight at the Fermi energy as a function of increasing temperature. This is something that has not been seen in any other system. It is a completely unusual phenomenon in a metallic system to have such unusual decrease in the spectral weight at the Fermi energy. How can we try to understand this phenomenon? In order to understand this phenomenon, let us first notice, and there is again a very crowded transparency, so I draw your attention first to the curves on the top. These are some ab initio band structure calculation for lanthanum manganate in an ideal perovskite structure. What we are interested here is in understanding the effect of magnetism on the electronic structure. Remember, this system already you have pointed out that magnetism and electronic structure are very closely linked. We looked at the antiferromagnetic band structure and the ferromagnetic band structure, and plotted here is the manganese D partial density of states alone from LaMNO3. This is the T2G up spin. This is the EG up spin. This is the T2G down spin. This is the EG down spin. Look at the bandwidth. It's about 1 electron volt for T2G, about slightly more than 1 electron volt for EG in the antiferromagnetic state. If we look at the ferromagnetic state, this is the T2G upspin, this is the EG upspin. This is the T2G downspin, and this is the EG downspin. Look at the bandwidth. Bandwidth of T2G is nearly 2 eV. Bandwidth of EG is 4 eV. So the bandwidth in the ferromagnetic state is twice as large as in the antiferromagnetic state. Why does that happen? So obviously, magnetic structure is strongly influencing the bandwidth, or in other words, correlation strength. Because correlation strength, remember, is not the absolute energy of U, but U by W, which is the relevant parameter. So if you change W, you change the correlation effects. So magnetic structure seems to have a very strong effect on correlation strength. Why does it happen? Let me give you a qualitative picture. Think of the ferromagnetic case. When you have a ferromagnetic case, manganese spins are all aligned at every side. Okay? So we have an EG upspin. Remember, there are four D electrons in manganese. So T2G3 totally occupied, then you have 1 electron in the EG. EG orbital is exchange split, up electron energy is here, down there. This is the Hund's coupling strength, J. EG upspin is lower energy, and next side also EG upspin is lower energy for ferromagnetic state. The bandwidth is formed by hopping off or virtual hopping of EG electron from that side to this side via, of course, the oxygen side. That determines the bandwidth in the manganese D. In the antiferromagnetic state, if EG upspin is low energy here, in the neighboring side, EG upspin is the higher energy. Because if one side has upspin occupied, the next side has downspin occupied. Right? So at the next side, the upspin state is higher energy. It's the next nearest neighbor side where the upspin is again lower energy. So in order to form the bandwidth, you cannot hop there. You have to hop up in energy and then come down. So this excess energy that it needs in the intermediate state